What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today we need to talk about Diablo Immortal, a game that personally is really freaking angering me, but I've noticed a lot of people on the internet are a little bit confused as to why a random mobile game seems to be getting so much ire. And the reason why is, basically, on the surface, Diablo seems like a very small series. If you're not part of the fanbase, it seems like it's just a random trilogy of excellent dungeon crawlers and nothing else. When in fact, Diablo as a franchise is phenomenal. These games are so well built, from the class balance, the cool places we can go, the monsters we fight, and the items we get to grab. Every single facet of each of these three games is brilliantly designed, which has now kind of created a sense that this is one of the best Blizzard series. Now, if you've not been alive very long, or you haven't really been following Blizzard since their very beginning, you may have forgotten the fact that Blizzard is really famous for one thing, which is their obsession with quality. I mean, from the very beginning, they've constantly talked about the fact that they want to make sure that every single game is not only fun and great, but really stands the test of time. Going all the way back to the very beginning with projects like Lost Vikings or the original StarCraft. These things were made to be timeless gems, which is why it's a little bit aggravating when something comes out that is obviously a very pathetic cell phone game that is simply made for cash. Now, I just want to say, part of the reason that I am so incredibly aggravated at Diablo Immortal is the fact that this thing probably should have been cancelled. I've watched several hours now of gameplay of this, trying to make sure that I was being even-handed and fair, because honestly, I've been wrong in the past. I think that it's really important for any gamer to do proper research, looking into the goods and bads of anything to basically make sure that you're aware of how good or awful this might be. And you know what? This thing sucks. Diablo Immortal is a garbage reskin. So this isn't even technically being made by Blizzard directly. They just randomly hired some random freaking mobile people to create it. And there's already a version of this. Basically, these people already made a giant game in the past that was called Crusaders of Light. This looks identical to Crusaders of Light. I mean, very obviously, Diablo team just showed up, handed them a dump truck full of money to put monsters inside of their already existing game. Now, the reason that is so freaking painful to me mentally is because this is not something Diablo is for. Diablo is supposed to be an entire universe of epic adventures. I don't know if you guys have read it, but there's actually a bunch of Diablo books that are freaking incredible. These are genuinely some of the best fantasy novels ever. There's an epic battle at the end of this one specifically, with two armies clashing in a desert. I've seriously reread this book about 15 times just for that final fight. I mean, the Diablo team, the Diablo series, is all about trying to make every single part of it as good as possible. Even when they accidentally make a crappy port of it, you can still have fun because it's fantastic. The core gameplay of this is so cool that you're able to overlook the weirder parts like bad graphics in an old game. But this port is so obviously, this cell phone game is so obviously only created to generate profit. Now, something else that's about this that seems to be annoying a lot of us is the fact that they hyped it up so much. So as of a couple days ago, all of these people started entering into the Diablo fanbase, coming onto the Reddit, going through the Twitters, and sort of talking about the fact that there was going to be some big Diablo updates coming out at Blizzcon. Now, if you're hearing words like that, what are you going to think? Probably something involving the words "for" and the title Diablo. Now, obviously I wasn't expecting a bunch of gameplay of Diablo 4 or even maybe a real cinematic trailer, but with the fact that they were even talking about it, I expected to see at least a title card that just said, "now in development." Even that would have really stoked the fires of curiosity as to what the heck Diablo 4 could be about. What's the time frame? What are the classes? What is going on? And instead, to take the stage and talk about a cell phone game is very, very disappointing. Now, add on to the fact that they did this during the opening ceremony. Now, in typical gaming fashion, normally you want to start any convention or any event with your biggest bang. I mean, look at the way they handle E3. So the Electronic Entertainment Expo, typically each of the big companies, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, they like to do their press conferences technically before the big day starts. Basically day zero. And that gives them a chance to really, A, show off everything that they're working on, and B, get you hyped to enter the show floor. It gives them an opportunity to basically show something like Zelda Breath of the Wild before you go inside the show hall and actually get to play it. Or times when they reveal a cool Sony game like Infamous. So the fact that they decided to just basically throw this out, pretending like it is a giant announcement when it is so paltry of a freaking cell phone game, is so baffling. Now, personally, the main reason that this just gets under my skin so much, it's not about the timing, it's not about the fact that the developers seem so blasé, it's the fact that the game itself just doesn't seem to be worth my time. I've played some good cell phone stuff here and there. I mean, it's not necessarily like I despise all mobile gaming, but I feel like if you're going to make something on mobile, it needs to try and stand on its own. It needs to be remarkable for different reasons than the main series. That's why I'm not actually against the idea of Elder Scrolls Blades, because now that I've played it, it actually does feel like Skyrim on a cell phone. Whereas this, after having watched so much gameplay of it, the graphics are bad, there's no magic system really, there's just a bunch of cooldowns, you don't even have mana, but on top of that, equipping items does not change you cosmetically. I mean, isn't that the freaking point of Diablo? A big joke about Diablo and games like Dark Souls is the fashion. Being able to customize your character to be as big, beautiful, and badass as you could possibly want. This seems like such a freaking crappy cash grab. And really, at the end of the day, the reason that's so enormously aggravating is because Blizzard is famous for not allowing this stuff. Blizzard Entertainment has done so much to try and only create the pinnacle of playtime experiences. This is why they've secretly canceled projects in the past, like StarCraft Ghost and the Warcraft puzzle game, because they realized internally that it wasn't perfect. This is why I truly believe that the original Diablo trilogy is such a masterpiece, because each one of them is so enormously perfect. They've managed to really carve out every single facet of every single battle, of every single boss, to make something that is a gem that you can't see anywhere else. It shows that they're so obsessive to make sure the lines are clear and the freaking abilities you use all feel so great. So suddenly seeing a tapping cell phone game where you're probably going to get randomized loot feels like a big, huge insult. Now, I will say that the developers are getting probably a little bit too much hate. I've seen a lot of stuff about people claiming that this is a slap in the face and they might as well delete Diablo. Diablo's dead. Those people are going too far. I feel like this is not really me trying to attack anybody so much as I'm saying that this is a giant disappointment. My ire is focused more on the people who allowed this to happen. The people way up at the top of Blizzard who probably forced them to create this. When you saw the developers come out on stage, you could tell that they were genuinely excited. These guys, internally, are super freaking hyped for what they're making. They're trying to make the best Diablo they possibly can. It's just the fact that it can't. Trying to put it on cell phones is not at all where Diablo should be. It deserves to be on the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4 and of course, PC. At this point, Diablo fans need very little to be happy. I've seen a lot of people saying, just give us Diablo 1 and 2 remastered. That would be so epic. Or maybe just give us an extra expansion pack for Diablo 3. Even that, it may shock you, but that game is so good that fans like myself would be absolutely thrilled to even have more cool content to go through. Whereas this It's very obviously a tone-deaf announcement. There's a word that just keeps being said over and over again revolving this, which is insult. And I do feel like, in a way, that's a very applicable way to phrase it. When all the developers took the stage and they were doing a Q&A, something that keeps getting passed around is the fact that one of the guys got really frustrated at one point and said, "No, this isn't going to be on PC, but don't you people have phones?" And people keep cycling that all through the community. Don't you people have phones? And I feel like that's a very interesting thing to say. It really displays that this is not supposed to be for Diablo fans, in my opinion. This is about a new demographic and trying to reach out to ultra-casual people and leaving people like us, who love Diablo for what it is right now, out in the cold. But what do you think about this? Let me know if you think that all of this is just madness, as if maybe Diablo fans are being a little bit too dramatic. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.